Mr Speaker.
I call the honourable member Dennis O'Rourke.
Mr Speaker, New Zealand First supports this bill to the appropriate select committee. It has a very long name, but it's an appropriate name because it describes serious issues with our Privacy Commission. One of those issues is about resources, another issue is about status with regard to an initiating power for investigations, and a third issue is about enforcement. Those are very important issues which certainly do need to be considered. So New Zealand First welcomes the bill for that reason. The bill amends the Privacy Act in 1993 in two ways, as recommended by the Law Commission in 2011. It's amazing, of course, that the government hasn't acted on this itself, and I hear that it's probably just forgotten to do so because there is apparently no other good reason given for it. In any event, the first thing it does is to empower the Commissioner to carry out an investigation or an audit into any government agency's privacy practices. It says, quote, for the purpose of ascertaining whether or not the information is maintained according to the information privacy principles, unquote. And there are 12 such principles set out in detail in Section 6 of the Principal Act. Under this proposed amendment, the Commissioner would be able to investigate without having first received a complaint. And we in New Zealand First believe that is in fact what is now needed. It's a natural evolution for New Zealand's privacy laws, and it is needed because state agencies have demonstrated that it is needed by their, in some cases, repeated failures to ensure even basic compliance with the privacy principles set out in Section 6. Indeed, in the last 2 years, we have seen some very gross breaches of personal privacy, in fact, far too many of them. And this is likely to actually be only the tip of the iceberg. Most people will never know about breaches which agencies successfully cover up. They do not have the expertise or resources to know, and they don't have the ability in many cases to do anything about it, even if they did know. Many people are also unwilling to make a formal complaint and have to face up to the procedures required to do that. So for those reasons, it is now clear to us that the Commissioner must in the future be empowered to initiate their own inquiries. This will change the Privacy Commission into an investigations entity, not just one with reactive powers following a complaint. So it's a fundamental change, and it is one which should come. New Zealand First supports it. It's clearly time for this change. It will get a very large degree of public support. The government should in fact embrace it and adopt this bill as a government bill forthwith. Otherwise, why has it done nothing? The other thing which the bill does is to empower the Commissioner to issue a notice requiring compliance with the Act. If that is what is needed following an investigation. It would add a discretionary enforcement power to the current power to simply make recommendations. This is a significant public dissatisfaction with a toothless Privacy Commissioner, and agencies too often do not take full notice of recommendations. Mr Speaker, there is another issue also not dealt with by this bill, and that is the issue of resources. The Privacy Commission is getting more and more work, mostly generated by the public through complaints, some generated by recent government legislation such as the recent GCSB Act amendments. And if this bill is passed, there will be significantly more work if the Commission begins to initiate its own investigations. So I call on the Government to avoid its usual penny pinching as far as the Privacy Commission is concerned, and to improve the resources of the Commission to enable it to cope with the current increases of complaints and also the additional work that the bill is bound to generate. Finally, Mr Speaker, The bill is one which, as I've said, I would have expected the government to have brought forward. It has not done so. It should now support the bill. New Zealand First will do so, and we want to see it go to the Select Committee with a view to it proceeding to a successful final reading.
Speaker.
I call the honourable member Dr. Paul Hutchison.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.